Okay, I think we are live. We've already got someone here in the chats. We got Anna A asking when it starts. That time is right now. We are starting right now. And we have a very special episode today. On live with us is my good friend and extraordinary ZBrush artist, Scott Denton.
Hi, everybody.
So hopefully you guys can hear him. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. Let us know in the chats if you don't hear him or if you do hear him. Uh, and that way we can make sure that's all working good. Um, all right, cool. Let's start this off. So I'm going to sculpt something. It's a so like I've been doing. Sometimes I'll just sculpt and uh, we'll see if anybody recognizes what it is that I'm sculpting as I go. And the first person, all right, Anna says she can hear. All right, great. So yeah, I'm gonna start sculpting, and I will give a hint. It is a non-human character from from a movie or TV show, and that's what I'll give you right now. So first person to guess it gets a free copy of my plugin Ryan's Tools. Yeah, it seems like there's no echo or anything.
Oh,
So in the chat, like syrup is Scott Denton in there. So yeah.
yeah.
So we got Scott here. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now, career-wise, Scott.
Uh, Jellyfish pictures here in London. I'm a can't say what it is, but I'm working on a movie for Netflix. Um, that's about all I can say about it. Been working on that for like the past 7 months, and we'll be doing that basically till January, and then yeah, right now I'm actually looking to move on to something else. They don't have anything for me to move on to come January. So we're still trying to stay here in London, and we moved here to kind of travel, and Jellyfish was a big part of that. But like, just trying to find another company that will like take care of visa stuff and keep us here for another year.
Okay, yeah. So
Because
you're looking to stay in London.
yeah, at least for a year, I think. I mean, we just we don't have kids, and like we were like, let's you know all of our friends that have kids are kind of like into their whole family things back in New York, and um, we just figured instead of spending $3,000 a couple times a year from New York to go to Europe, we figured we might as well live here, and you know I mean, I looked at yesterday. We ended up getting a 3-day weekend because of the Queen passing away. I mean, it sucks that somebody had to die for us to get a day off, but uh, like I just happened to look at tickets for Rome, and it's like a $80 trip just to fly down there, like both ways. So, like once you're in Europe, everything just becomes like if you like to travel, it's like trains and all that stuff. It's just so easy to like go other places within Europe. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
been our
That's great. I haven't done a lot of traveling in Europe. I did go to the Germany and Netherlands and Belgium about 10 years ago.
yeah.
Uh, but that was good times. But yeah, that's awesome that you're getting to do more of that.
Yeah, and I feel like this year we've just kind of like I mean most of it was just kind of getting settled, and then like we've been traveling a little bit here the last couple of months, but um most of the year was just getting settled into our new apartment, figuring out our neighborhood, figuring out kind of like the new friends that we do have here, um and you know just kind of getting a little bit settled, and like I'd hate to have to go back this January after like kind of just feeling like we just kind of started getting into our lives here.
Right, right. So what are some of the other cool things about living in London and work? Is
Um,
the industry different there than in New York City?
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's just a bigger, I feel like, I mean, there's definitely a lot more movie stuff here and a lot more television stuff. The community just feels a little bit bigger and more well connected. Like New York, I mean, I love New York. I was in New York for 18 years, and um, like the people there are amazing and stuff. But like it just like the kind of like group that I kind of set up in New York before I left, like the that I think you got to go to maybe like one or two of those too. But like I should have definitely tried to set that up way before I did. But like it just seems like, I mean, there's a very pub culture here. Like, you know, on Fridays, like companies, like you can literally go to Soho and like, you know, Frame Store has their pub, and like DNEG has their pub, ILM has their pub, and like you can kind of like go to your company's pub, but then like later on that night, like if you're about to go home or whatever, or you feel like going out and doing more things, like a lot of the groups from certain companies will like pop over to the other companies' pubs and hang out, and like it just seems to be a little bit more, um, yeah, just a little bit more of a community here, like a more camaraderie a little bit. And that's not to say that like it's missing from New York. It's just I just think there's, I don't really know how to put it into words. Like New York is, I love all the people I ever worked with there, and like I love that city. But it's definitely more of a freelance market in New York, and not that everyone's out for themselves, but it just it doesn't, it sometimes doesn't feel as tightly knit there as it does
Right,
here, kind of.
right. So are you saying that more people are working staff positions rather than freelance in London? Is that kind of what
Yeah,
causes
and
that?
yeah, yeah. There's definitely more staff here than in New York, and like I feel like just, you know, when you're constantly around the same people all the time in a company, you know, you tend to make a little bit stronger connections. And not to say that's missing from New York, but um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't want to like shade my time in New York in any kind of way, because I absolutely love that community, and like, uh, but
yeah,
like you know, I in being in New York for that long and looking kind of at LA's scene, uh, like I mean, LA has Gnomon workshops all the time. They have like conventions. They have like all that stuff. And Vancouver even has a lot of that. So does Montreal. And just for some reason, sometimes in New York, I always felt a little bit like I wished that there was a bigger, yeah, I don't
bigger community. Yeah, and well, that's actually one of the things I really appreciated about my time in New York City was you were one of the primary like motivators of creating that community in New York City among the freelance like 3D modeling community. Um, and that was
know.
like that was really great the way you just kind of spearheaded that.
Yeah, because it kind of just felt like, you know, we were all like separate artists, like trying to get work, and like it felt like we were all competing. And instead of it just being like, hey, here's all this work uh, that we all can share in, like, why don't we, like, instead of like treating it like, you know, like I have to like either, you know, underbid you or overbid you or like all this other stuff behind closed doors, like, you know, like I started that chat group just because I was like, I just wanted there to be transparency, and like wanted it to be like, hey, look, there's all this work, it's all sharing doing it, here's what the rates are, like, um yeah,
Totally,
it
and
just,
yeah, I think it was really successful too. You know, it's like this chat group that you created of the New York City 3D modeling professionals. There's so much like connection, networking going on, so much information sharing. Everybody is like really helpful and like
yeah,
yeah, it could just create a really positive atmosphere. So I just wanted
yeah,
to
I
let you
mean it's
know I
really
really
small
appreciated that.
yeah, I mean it's such a small industry, and like, you know, I don't know. I've always felt like none of this should feel. I mean, like, granted, there's artists that are better than other artists and blah 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 and all that other stuff. You can get into ego stuff all the time or whatever. But like, you know, we're all doing this mostly because we love doing it, and like it should be an atmosphere of like lifting each other up instead of like being, I'm the best or whatever. Like that just attitude doesn't get anybody in. And if you lift the other people around you, then like you grow as well and you change your skills, and then everyone rises together. So it's just, I don't know. At least that's always been my attitude towards all of it.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Um, so in case anybody's just joining us, we've got Scott Denton here. I'll just, yeah, quick reintroduction because I know a lot of people join in later on once the video stream starts. So he was in New York City for many years, good friend of mine, and excellent 3D modeler. And we are just chatting about the industry, and also I'm sculpting a character. So the first person who can recognize who this character is gets a free copy of my plugin Ryan's Tools. Um, and so yeah, we'll just keep going. Just yeah, feel free to ask any questions to myself or to Scott in the chat, and we'll just I've got my eye on the chat, and I think Scott can see it too. So any questions pop up, we can just like talk about that too. Uh, yeah, yeah. So in London, it's more staff based. Is there like a how many? So in New York City, how many modelers would you say were like freelance or staff, just kind of regularly working in the city, like maybe 100 or
There's always,
so?
I mean, there's always more and more every year because like you got people from SVA that kind of come up, uh, and then you've got people from, what is it? School of Visual Arts there that like are graduating on a yearly basis. So like, there's always a fresh new pool of people kind of coming into the scene. But I don't know, like maybe 50 or 60 modelers. Like I know there's way more than that, but within the freelance scene, it just kind of feels like it's not more than like it's very very small community and like there's definitely some game industry stuff there, but like the majority of it's commercial work, which pays pretty well, but like it's not like the most glamorous stuff. You're making cell phones and like you know a lot of that type of work. Um, but no, it's a great. Yeah, it's a pretty small community, and then you've got like a lot of 3D printing stuff too because the Shapeways there. That's kind of how me and you started becoming like really close was through that whole scene. Um,
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things I miss most about New York City was that especially the
yeah,
energy like 10 years ago when 3D printing was just really this fresh thing that was bursting out, and there's so much passion behind it, and just everybody was excited about it. And uh, yeah,
yeah,
that was a
shape,
great time.
yeah, the Shapeways All Stars stuff, like when they not the All Star stuff, but like just like they used to have those meetups like all the time, and like you could go. Yeah, I miss the old Shapeways days, man. Like they used to have meetups like once a month, or like at least a couple every couple of months, and like met so many people in like the 3D printing world in New York through that, and like
Didn't
yeah,
you even
just
meet Natalia like because you got in a bike accident and before you even like
yeah,
before Shapeways was on
yeah,
your
yeah,
radar?
yeah. I could tell that
Yeah,
story if you
yeah,
want me to
go, yeah,
tell it.
go for it.
Uh, so like to everybody on this chat, I was working in 3D. I started doing stuff with Shapeways. I started doing stuff with Shapeways because of Ryan. I always wanted to get into 3D printing stuff, and like we went out to lunch. At one point, like I don't know, like this probably was around like 2011 or so, 2012 maybe.
12 or
Is it that
13.
long ago?
It's 12 or
Yeah,
13.
2013. And then you were showing me that like doll you made with them, and you were showing me a few other things. And like I'd been talking about getting involved with 3D printing for a while, and like I remember we after we had that lunch, I went home and I immediately uploaded. Like I was making a burger for Hardy's ad, and I think you were helping on that thing. I think like for whatever reason I got busy on another project, and like you helped me finish that burger.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then but I uploaded that burger and put it on top of a ring, and then I like ordered it, and it came like a week later, and like I felt like an 8-year old like getting its first toy for like that year or something. And I was just like, this is so cool, like this dumb little ring.
Yeah,
And then like for a while, I was just printing stuff like crazy. But yeah, like I so getting back to the story, like I about 8 months before that, I had had a bike accident and I got like a third-degree concussion, and like this one girl picked me up off the road, and I was about to start biking to work again after I like basically ran into the back of a car, and she was like not going anywhere, and she called an ambulance to come get me. I remember the ambulance showed up. I didn't have insurance at the time, and I remember at least saying like, "There's no way I'm getting in the back of the ambulance. It's going to cost me like $700 just to step through their door." And I asked them if I could take a cab behind the ambulance to the hospital. And I didn't have any cash on me, but this girl Natalia like she had like $20, and she's the one that picked me up off the street. So she gave me $20. I took the taxi, and then like I spent like the night in the hospital, and then like 8 or 9 months passed. I ended up printing this thing, and then I ended up printing a few other things, and then I had like a one of the things that I was printing for Shapeways was not like it had a glitch and couldn't print or something. So I think she was the technician or something on the other end that was like basically like, look, this is the reason it's not printing, uh, blah blah blah. And I was like, Natalia. I was like, man, your name sounds really familiar. And then I asked her, I was like, in the email that she had sent, I was like, did you give a guy like $20 like 9 months ago that you like picked up off the street from running into the back of like a like an Explorer? And she's like, yes. And I was like, that's me. And I was like, I still owe you $20. And like, yeah, she worked for Shapeways, and then me and her became really good friends. I went to her wedding, um, and she's still like one of my closest friends now. Such a random, but like that's just a random New York story. Like,
That is so random. It's such a huge city.
yeah,
So many people there, and then like the chances of running into somebody is pretty slim, especially if it's
yeah,
like not if you're not in a part of the town where you expect to be meeting anybody at any particular time. I've had like weird run-ins with people too. Like, I remember I had just kind of met the Shapeways crew, and I was walking around. I think it was the Lower East Side with my partner, and like it was. I think it was Natalia. It was I can't remember their names. Like Lauren, maybe a couple other of the all the like the women from Shapeways, and they see me on the street and they're like Ryan, Ryan. They're waving me down, and like we had just moved to New York City. It seemed like, and my partner's like, why are all these women like shouting and waving you down, Ryan? Like what is going on? I was like, I just met these people and they're really cool, and uh,
yeah,
but it was like completely not even expecting to run into anybody there.
yeah, dude. It was I don't know. It's such an interesting small community there too. It's like, I can't think of the other girl's name, but there was another girl that worked there. I was at a bar in my neighborhood, and I had never met her, but I think she knew of me because I had done some interviews with Shapeways and stuff, and she worked somewhere there, and like I was in the bar, and she's like, wait, you're Scott Denton. I was like, what? I was like, how do you know me? Like, uh, I don't know, so random. But my girlfriend's like, she's like, do you have a fan base? And I was like, I don't think so, but like, so random. But it was what was her name? You know her too. I can't think. It's like I can't think of her name now. That's been so long ago now. It's like I feel like all of that was like just yesterday, but like most of that stuff was like 10 years ago now.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
How long have you been out in Portland now?
I've been in Portland for 7 years, and time just
That's
flies.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I totally get what you're saying about like feeling like it's. Well, I felt like it was Christmas every time I would order something. and then I would go to the
Yeah,
factory in Long Island City and pick it up because it was just a
yeah,
short bike ride away, and
yeah,
it was just so exciting to go like meet. Oh man, I'm just thinking about Andrew now. Andrew's our good friend. He
yeah.
died in a traffic accident a couple months ago. He worked there at
Yeah,
Shapeways. Good guy.
that was tragedy, man.
Oh, so we've got not to distract from the the memorial for Andrew, but we do have a correct answer. This is Bradley P. Richfield from Dinosaurs. Good, good job, Sir Doomington. Go ahead and send me an email. I'm going to type my email here into the chat.
Dude, I was totally thinking about modeling the sun like soon.
Yeah, all the
Didn't you
characters.
model the sun?
No, I never modeled any characters from Dinosaurs before, but yeah, no, they're all really well designed.
Not the mama.
Not the mama.
Uh,
But yeah, go ahead, Sir Doomington. Go ahead and email me, and I'll send you a free copy of Ryan's tools. Here I am chatting away. But yeah, it's like I'd go order my prints, and it was not surprisingly expensive. Like to get a small little figurine was like maybe $50, depending on the material, the
yeah.
size, or whatever. But it wasn't breaking the bank, and so I would just
No, and all those.
yeah, just like print out whatever I thought of printing out. Just like doesn't matter. It's not so expensive, and I hadn't at that time. I wasn't really thinking like, oh, this could turn into a career or anything. I just loved doing it. It was just fun to do.
Yeah, same.
And
And
then
it's like, and then, yeah, and then stuff started selling. I mean, for a while, like I was definitely selling a lot of stuff from uh, my like Shapeways page. I know you were selling a good amount as well. I mean, you were doing all those like meme stuff, which was really great. Um, do you still have your page up with them or no?
yeah, I still have the page up. It sells about one thing a week. It's not really making me much
Oh,
money, but it's something. It's a little. It's fun. Every once in a while, I get an email, something sold.
man. If y'all don't know, like Ryan, so Ryan lived. How long did you live in New York? For like what, 4 years, 3 years?
No, it's just 2 years.
Oh, all right. For some reason I thought you were there longer, but I guess not. But Ryan was there, I guess, for the 2 years you were there, and then he bought a van, and then basically like, you know, man down by the river vanned it across the U.S.
Yeah.
for a little while. It was sculpting out of his van for a while, um, and I was really jealous of that because I was talking to you about doing that shit for years, and then like
Yeah, man, that was
and
great.
then Ryan moved out to Portland, where I've talked about moving for years. Like,
Yeah, I just found myself like I was working. I thought when I moved to New York City, I would go work at studios, and then I just realized all the work I was doing from home anyway. And so I'm
yeah,
thinking like, why am I paying New York City rent and like barely being able to go see nature when
yeah.
I could go travel around? And so yeah, just got a van and made that happen.
Dude, I was extremely jealous. I like wish I would have taken that moment and done that. But I mean, I guess I could still do it at some point. I mean, definitely getting older though.
Yeah, you can definitely do it. I mean, uh, actually, did I tell you, Scott, my van got totaled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, you said the insurance is taking care of all of it, though, right?
Yeah. The insurance paid for it. I actually I made more off the insurance than I thought I was going to make because camper vans are really hot right now. So when they calculated the value of it, um, that
Yeah, because
the market's inflated because everybody because of COVID, it's working remotely.
everybody's working from home now. Like, people are like, if I'm working from home, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Sorry, can I cuss on this or?
um, I, I'm sure you'll be fine. I mean, they might give me a warning or something, but I think they told me I have to
No,
keep it family friendly. Um,
I'll keep it
but
family
I,
friendly.
but yeah,
I lived
whatever.
in New York for too long. I got like a sailor's mouth. I'm gonna drop my link just so people know who I am on there. If that's cool.
Oh yeah, that's totally cool. Yeah, just post a link to ArtStation or whatever you want to put
In
on
my
there.
link tree, it's got a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, like me and Ryan met through. I mean, first of all, it was online. It was kind of through Facebook. I think we were introduced to each other by Jared.
Yeah, I couldn't remember
Uh,
who it was, but it
Jared
was
was
yeah
back
somebody
then.
because Scott went to Full Sail, and I taught at Full Sail after Scott had already graduated and went to New York City. But a lot of Scott's, a lot of your classmates were my coworkers.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like half my class ended up as teachers, like, or like at least of the classes that all kind of happened around the time I was there initially, which was like 2003 to like 2005, I think. I don't know, like it's hard for me to remember like how long. I think I started there at end of 2003, and then because it's only like a 28-month program when I was there at least. I think it was like two years, and then they started getting the bachelor's program, and like I think they have a master's degree now too, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. They started a master's degree. Yeah, while I was there, like 10 years ago.
Man, I can't believe like I mean it's crazy, man. I remember like being like, oh, I've been in New York 10 years, and then the next thing I know it was like 17 years, and then I was like, where did the time go?
Yeah, time flies. So we were talking about like how big the community is in New York City for um, freelancers or modelers in general, and so how big is it in London? Do you because you said there was like roughly 50 freelance modelers who are kind of like
I mean,
regularly doing it.
there's probably like maybe 100 or 200 people in New York if you really like, if I'd really put it down. But like people that are like kind of active in that community that like I was part of, like it feels smaller. But like there's definitely people that were staff at certain companies. There's definitely in New York, but like here in London, I mean, Jellyfish I think is uh 200 people right now, and I think modeling wise, it's probably like 20 or 30. So like, and then like ILM you've got here, that's probably, you know, I have no idea how big their full team is, but like I'd say probably close to 50, 60 people. Um, DNEG with all the different shows and stuff that they have, probably like maybe 100 modelers. Um, Probably the same thing with ILM, probably the same thing with Frame Store. And then you've got like a bunch of other kind of bigger shops too. I mean, like Scanline is here, Cinesite is here, and you've got like Blue Zoo, and like, I mean, there's just a massive amount of studios here. And then there's like video games as well. There's TV, there's film. Um, I mean, there's some production in Glasgow, and then there's also in Dublin, and you've got like a few things like here and there in like Manchester and like Oxford and like Bristol. But like London scene, like I don't know, probably I went to a thing. I don't know if you, I think you know who he is. Gail. Uh, I can never say his last name, and he's a friend of mine. Gail Crutchenbaum. Uh,
Huh? Doesn't
Let
sound
me look at
familiar to
his
me.
last name actually. He does a lot of like animals and like dragons, and I'll post his. He's an amazing artist, and he does a lot of amazing stuff with Mari. Um, but he kind of holds a thing here called Creature Drinks every couple of months, where he basically just kind of like puts out an invite on Facebook, and then like the last time we had it was I think in early June, and I think we had maybe like 100 something people show up. So like I mean, it's a fairly big community, and people, I don't know, it's just, I mean, and like people in London like to drink and hang out, so uh, it's definitely like very like, yeah, I don't know.
So, and so for you personally, what's the shift been like to go from freelance to staff? How do you feel about that?
Um, I mean, there's things I missed about freelance for sure, but then there's things that, I mean, there's pluses on both sides. Like, I mean, when I was freelance, I mean, you know how it was. Like, I used to work probably half the year and then I would travel the rest. Like, and I still would make just about as much as I did if I like, uh, as I do when I'm staff. So, um, but like, it's nice to have, I mean, here, because of the national healthcare system, I have healthcare. But like in the US, like being staff and like I have, like some pre-existing conditions, like, uh, being able to have healthcare in the States is definitely a plus for that. I mean, you can definitely pay for it if you're freelance, but like it's definitely not cheap, especially if it's stuff that you like consistently need. Um, uh, I definitely miss traveling as much as I used to. I still get to travel now. The thing I like about staff in general too is I feel like as a freelancer, um, it can start to feel slightly like an echo chamber sometimes, for yourself if you're trying to learn new things. Um, when you're in a staff environment, I feel like there's more people to bounce ideas off of and just kind of organically just kind of absorb things, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's one of the biggest pluses about it is just, I mean, a lot of us aren't in the office anymore, but it's still having the day-to-day crew that you kind of like are in front of and kind of can get comfortable with and bounce ideas off of, on a regular daily basis. It just kind of, um, I think that's the most thing I like about being staff, is just that, like, it creates a little bit more of a easier place to learn new things, um, quickly instead of like, um, over over accidentally kind of trying to get it yourself or like find that information online or otherwise, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, totally. When you're around other people, you can really kind of turbocharge your how much you're learning and like see what other people are up to on a regular basis. That is definitely one thing that I miss about kind of more staff positions. I haven't really been on a staff position in a couple of years, about 2 years. I was, and only briefly then, like 2 months on this also Netflix feature.
It just came out, and
It's gonna come out soon, I think in October. It's
it's already
called.
getting a lot of amazing press, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm so excited to see it. It's called Wendell and Wild for anybody who doesn't know, and it's directed by the director of Nightmare Before Christmas. And a lot of people think, oh, Tim Burton. No, he was the producer on that, but Henry Selick was the director.
Yeah,
Um, he also directed Coraline at Leica, and yeah, and it's written by Key and Peele. So I mean, it's like
yeah,
top notch storytelling, and it was really fun to work on. A lot of the people working there were former Leica people, and
yeah,
but it was a total change of pace for everybody because Leica has such a laborious process, just spending
yeah.
just uh, years and years working on polishing every last tiny detail, and Wendell and Wild is a much lower budget, fast paced feature, and so
Yeah.
it was a for myself. I'm like I'm used to like working fast and dirty. I know how to do that, but I think a lot of people were struggling to
Yeah.
change that pace, which is fine. And the movie came out, or it's not released yet, but it's finished, and it's and the stuff that I saw, it looks really good. But it definitely also looks rougher, which I appreciate. I
Yeah.
actually I want to say like a kind of over polishes.
Yeah. Did you work with Gian when he was on it at all, or did he come in after you?
Oh, what's his name? Oh,
Gian,
right, Shion. Yeah, yeah. He came in after me. Actually, he kind of replaced me.
and then Mickle. I think it was Willington. Is it Mickle or Michael?
I don't
And then
know him.
I think he might have been on after that too. There's just it's so I don't know. There's so many people that like I talk to online that like I've never met in person, and it's just like I don't know. I'm like I mean, I've always kind of been that person of like, if I have a question and like I don't know you, I'll ask you anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've never met what is his name? Michael. I mean, he does all those Michael Pavlovich, but like I ask that dude questions all the time, and like I have for years, and like I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Joseph Trust. Like when we finally met, like out at Summit that one year, but like Um, I'd send like suggestions for ZBrush all the time. Like I'm sure I'm like I always like start off with like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm sure you probably get hit up like all the freaking time. But like I had this idea for this tool and you should maybe do it. And then he gives me like 20 different version ways of doing it like a backwards way. And I'm like, yeah, I could do it that way and have done it that way, but like it'd be nice to just have a tool.
That is, yeah,
And
that is true. I mean, not to bash ZBrush or Pixelogic, they do a really great job of like getting back to you if you
yeah.
have a question of something. It might not always be the answer you want to hear, but they'll get back to
Yeah,
you.
no, I mean, I love Paul, and like that. All those guys are amazing at giving answers, and like, yeah, definitely not bashing ZBrush at all. I love the program and the community that
Yeah,
they've created around it.
yeah,
So
yeah. They put a lot of effort into making a community with Summit and ZBrush Central. So yeah, good on them. Hopefully that doesn't. Hopefully it just gets better. With Maxon.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm giving them the. I think they'll. I mean, it's good to have like an influx of, feel like they've got like a little bit more money behind them now to be able to, like, hopefully stretch and do some more things with the program. Did you pause? Did it freeze up?
Oh no, it didn't pause.
Maybe.
I was blocking someone who was kind of spamming the chat with things that were not relevant. Yeah, I want to speculate a little bit on what Maxon might be doing. One thing I think would be really cool is if they integrated a Redshift viewport into ZBrush and like had PBR materials and like real materials right in the ZBrush viewport.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, because like, I mean, that's part of the reason I feel like Blender's kind of coming up a little bit. It's like you can see, you know, real lighting and real cameras, like, you know, kind of affecting your surfaces while you're like working to, up that stuff definitely would like help them uh, reach a little bit more of uh, that realism faster.
Yeah,
And
and
you've got like, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like, and also if you could, have treat ZBrush a little bit more like as if you were in Substance Painter or something, and be able to
Yeah.
export your stuff from ZBrush a little more directly to games or film or whatever your output is.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what they're gonna do. I mean, there's definitely some other programs that are starting to do some of that stuff. I'm not gonna mention them here because like I know it's on their channel.
I think they're okay with mentioning, just not
Like, I mean,
cheerleading.
like yeah, 3D Note has some of that stuff, and like, I mean, Nomad's kind of crazy, man. Like some of the stuff that they're doing, and it's just all on the iPad is insane. Like,
Oh yeah, Nomad Sculpt. Yeah, I haven't played with that in a minute. I got
yeah,
it a little while ago, but
yeah,
I should revisit that.
yeah. I'm looking forward to the Go Z plugin working better too.
Yeah, I just saw that there's an update yesterday for ZBrush. Was it 2022
Yeah,
point 0.6, and it said it like re re-implemented the GoZ with Maya, and I tried it out yesterday, and it failed.
it works. Oh, it failed.
It failed. It
Dude, like I haven't I haven't used that in probably like 7 to 8 years just because like we were using it on projects and then it would like accidentally like change scale or it would like do some other shit that was crazy or it would like flip your object upside down or like so like we just couldn't get it to like work with our pipelines at any of the studios I was with. So like literally almost every studio I've been at like has banned you from using GoZ at all. Like
you will be terminated.
um, I think most of the time when we're using is we're using a plugin by I can't think of what it's called now or what the guy's name that made it, but it's called Sticks, and it like just kind of quick. It doesn't really do exactly what GoZ does, but it like basically you hit the export button, it exports it to a folder, and then when you go back to ZBrush, you hit the Sticks button again, and then it imports that stuff back in, and you can and what it's mainly used for is like doing a lot of like blend shape stuff and other stuff with layers and things like that. I can drop the. Let me find the plugin real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know this guy named Tyler Formelis? He might even be listening right now. He's a friend of mine.
No.
We worked at we were on Wendell and Wild together, and he also knows how to script in ZBrush and Mel scripting and stuff. And he wrote something kind of like that too, where it was like a replacement for GoZ because he was doing a lot of blend shape stuff and needed to constantly be jumping back and forth between Maya and ZBrush. And yeah, he just wrote his own. He was like, it's kind of like me. He was like sick of things that didn't work.
Dude, I use your like smooth thing. I pretty much just replaced it in my ZBrush, like
Oh, this
because it
this
doesn't
smart
lose
subdivide.
volume.
Yeah, smart
Yeah.
subdivide. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I never
Otherwise,
use.
I end up having to do this. Yeah. Otherwise, I end up having to do that stupid morph target thing like all the freaking time.
Yeah, yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, in my plugin Ryan's tools, actually, I'm going to put a link in the chat. So yeah, just I have a bunch of tools. Whatever his name is,
I can
Mister
find it if you want to keep working.
Sir Doomington. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If you want to talk about it.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, I mean, Ryan's Tool's got like, I mean, there's so many things in there. Like, I love your, like the primitives things, and that I could just make a mask. And some of that stuff I feel like they've added too. I mean, I know that they've definitely added some of the things that you've had. Like, I mean, you have your, uh, what was it, the amp detail thing you kind of first did, and there was somebody else that kind of did something similar too, but like, their what's it? What do they call it? They call it
Oh yeah, there's
it's their let me go to it's in deformation tab. It's the contrast brushes and stuff like
yeah.
that. Contrast, and then there. I mean the way that they added what's the one where you can paint to like a certain level? It's the thickness. That stuff's pretty crap that they added. I need to start using that stuff more often.
Oh yeah, thick skin.
Yeah, I need to use that stuff. I hardly ever use it. Like I'm always doing stuff, and then I'm like, oh, I should have done it that way.
Yeah, I'm always like putting stuff or just sculpting, and I'm like, oh, I should have sculpted that in a layer, but it's now like way too late to put it in a separate layer.
I use reproject history though, like all day long, every day. Like, I think I
You were telling me
talked to
about
you about
that.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely have started using it more. I haven't. I don't seem to use it all day every day, but there's definitely moments where I'm like, yeah,
So for
that's
me,
exactly what I needed.
like on this, like where you're at right now, instead of using like Dynamesh or like Sculptress, like what I would do is I would mark because like it kind of feels like you're like kind of fighting the geometry just a tiny bit right now. Um, like what I would do is I would like mark a thing on the timeline. I would then like basically do a Z remesh, and then I'd up the Z remesh to like level 6 and then do a reproject history. And then I basically have like a temporary, like kind of good mesh to like sculpt on until like I do it again. So I repeat that like all of the time to where like I'll mark a, like if I'm working with Dynamesh and I just want to add like a higher level of detail to it, I'll like basically kind of upres it to where I want. I'll mark a thing on the timeline, immediately Z remesh it, up that to like wherever it was that I would need to get that resolution, and then I'll do the history reproject, and then I'll just continue to work.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it too is if you can import in pretty much anything that like envelops that space, and you can basically reproject to it. Um, so like you can like go into Maya and make new topology and bring it back into there, and like just like I don't know. I feel like I use it more than any other thing in ZBrush now.
Yeah, no, it really is good for that stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I use it all day every day, but yeah, definitely use it somewhat.
I was about to start talking about some of the things in here. Yeah, the primitives, the easy primitives are awesome. I love that you can just mask somewhere and like pop things in. I have started to use the balloons a lot though. And didn't you make a balloon tool though too?
Yeah, yeah. I made a
Yeah.
balloon extract. Actually, I'll just demonstrate it right here. So let's say you want something on your model that, like, on the surface of something else. So let's maybe he's getting attacked by a tentacle monster. So we like
Yeah.
make these tentacles coming out here, right? Kind of going all over him, and then it's like it's got a main body right there. So I'll just hit balloon extract. You can't see it, but I just got a button, and I was
Yeah.
just gonna think about it for a second. I'm actually in the process of updating it. It works better now than the current version of Ryan's tools that's out. But yeah, basically um,
That's awesome.
just makes a thing that kind of fits the like where the mask is thick and wide, then the resulting geometry is thick and wide, and where the mask is thinner,
I was
the geometry is thinner.
I was working kind of on a Roche type of thing, like making a bunch of like organs recently, and like was just using that like a ton just to do that type of stuff, like veins and other stuff.
Nice. Well, then I think you'll really like the update I'm working on right now. It works. It
Um,
gives it a smoother result than the current version of Ryan's tools. So hopefully I'll be
cool.
releasing that soon.
Yeah, but smart div, if none of you know, Ryan made a smart subdivision thing that basically it more resembles like what actual like Catmull Clark does. If you don't know what Catmull Clark is, it's just like the algorithm that like when you smooth things in most other programs, it keeps the volume instead of, but like the way you smooth things normally inside of ZBrush initially is that you lose a little bit of your volume, and Ryan's smart subdivision things like keeps that volume basically.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good description of it. Yeah, and for myself, I don't ever use the old the original built-in factory subdivision. I just like change my hotkey
Yeah,
to
same. That's exactly what I did. I just changed it to be yours.
every once in a while. There's some reason to use the original one if you want it to shrink
Yeah.
or something. I'll just like hunt back through the menus and find the original subdivision button and push it. But yeah,
Oh, and I used your um, what is it? It's where you don't lose like so if you have an open edge or you have an open border, he's got like a crease open edges. So like if you don't crease open edges before you smooth things that have open edges, you'll basically shrink the edge or border of your mesh like by about 3 or 4 squares. Um, 3 or 4 centimeters almost, it feels like, if you're working at scale.
Yeah, let me demonstrate. So you turn on smooth preview, like, see how far away that edge comes from the bounding box? That's not how it works in Maya. That's not how it's supposed to work. But if I crease open
Yeah.
edges, you can see that it's not creased. Now, now it sticks to the original border, which is how it's supposed to work. So yeah, my dynamic subdivision like takes that into account.
Yeah.
So yeah, Daniel, that is Mr. Richfield from Dinosaurs. Unfortunately, you're not the first person to provide the answer. Someone else got to you before, and they won a copy of Ryan's Tools, my plugin. Um, but yeah, good. Thanks for playing. Better luck next time.
Somebody's asking, show your IG. Is that Instagram?
Oh yeah, I think somebody asked for your Instagram, Scott. If you want to share it.
Oh, sure. I'll just drop my like Linktree link again. It's got like all that stuff in it. I don't think I have. Oh yeah, I do have my Instagram on there. Yeah, man. Now you're making me want to do like one of the other characters from this. I love that show. I should watch it again. Like I know it's on something.
That show is so much
Isn't it
fun.
on Disney?
I
I think
don't
it's on
know.
Disney.
I mean, look at that.
Look
I
at it.
just balloon extract. Boom, done. Like, look at those teeth. I drag over it.
Done.
Look at that. He's just got like popcorn kernels for teeth.
Use a little AccuCurve real quick and you're done. Another actually square like that. That's yeah, you ain't gonna do shit.
And look
So
at so the new version. Unfortunately, this isn't in what everybody else has, but it also keeps you like your groups, like the inside and the outside, and like a center polygroup. So it's like easy to control like what's the part that's closer to the original mesh, what's the part that's farther away, and like you can independently
yeah.
control that. So I'm gonna put a little bit of like
Well, that'd be awesome too if you have like if you're using uh like move by topologically, so then like you don't move the bottom, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've got the move topological on, so now I can just kind of give a little shape to these teeth. Backface masking, use that all the time.
Do you have a printer at home?
No, I keep thinking about getting one, and then I'm always like realizing like how much time people who have printers put into like maintaining them and fixing them, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Like at least once a month I put a frozen in my like Amazon thing and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And then like I like decide not to. Because I don't have any idea where we put it in our apartment anyways. Like I had that like um alias one that they put out for a second, like in my apartment, and I feel like resin got on it like every single thing I owned. Like
Yeah, it's like the Cat in the Hat and the birthday cake or whatever that was. It just gets on everything.
yeah, Melanie was like, no, this is not happening. She's like, you gotta get rid of this thing. I don't think they ended up ever releasing. I think they just like, didn't you test that thing too?
No, no, I was kind of jealous. You got to beta test it. Was it the Ember,
Yeah, it was the Ember.
the
It was like
Autodesk Ember?
like Autodesk Ember, and like I think I had it for like 4 or 5 months, and then like after like I gave it back, I think they like decided not to put it out. It worked pretty well, but it was such a small volume. Like I mean, it basically like could print.
Are people here? I think my internet went down.
Oh, no
Oh, are you
worries. I'm
back?
back.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Okay, cool. I don't know if the stream has recovered, but I think my internet went down for a few seconds.
no worries. You done any more trips like recently?
So yeah, went to Ecuador this past winter, and that was really fun. My girlfriend's originally from Ecuador, and so we
Yeah.
went there, hung out with her family a little bit. Went to the Amazon, went to the coast, the mountains.
All
Uh,
the pictures I saw looked amazing. Like you had like a good time.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty awesome. And then this winter coming up, I'm planning on going to India for 2 months.
Um, Whereabouts?
Rishikesh, heard of it?
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I spent like 2 months out in Bangalore 3 years ago. 4 years ago? 2019. Yeah. God, I can't believe that was like 4 years ago.
How was that? Were you working in a studio there?
Yeah, I was there just working at Mill, Bangalore for like 2 months, just trying to like, I was just trying to like get to know our team there a little bit better. A bunch of amazing artists there, a bunch of really good people. I had an awesome time. And then after that, I spent like 2 weeks just kind of traveling around for a little bit, and then came back.
Nice. Did you go to Rishikesh?
No, I went to Kovalam, or Kriela, which is like kind of like the lower portion.
Southern?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was beautiful. But like I was there in like November, and like Kriela in November, it's like a summer kind of like resort place. And like when I was there, I was like the only I was like the only tourist that was there.
Oh wow, so that's not the tourist season to go there.
No, like weird. It's like the old. Okay, now it's back. I was like looking at the when you had just started on this chat. Um, yeah, like I think I was literally the only tourist that was there. I would walk up and down like the thing every day. I was there for like 4 days, and like I ended up making friends with this one dude that worked at this one restaurant, and we ended up going like on a tuk tuk like around all these other little cities around there. This guy named Raj, and like he like kept in touch. Um, I haven't talked to him in a while, but like yeah, no, that trip was awesome. You'll have a great time. And some of the most amazing people I've met in my life were out there. So
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so
Indian people are so
which
friendly.
yeah, man, it was such a good time.
Yeah, I had kind of a similar experience in Mexico last year and Ecuador this year because of COVID. There weren't many tourists at all, and so just go to these amazing places and have them all to myself, basically.
I'm jealous. Dude, I loved Mexico City. Like what I did for my 40th, and then um, yeah, I need to get back down there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, next year, the year after this winter, I want to go to Mexico City and Oaxaca and Chiapas and the Yucatan.
Let me know when you're doing that, man. I might try to like, I
Join
mean, depending on
in.
where I try to join you.
Yeah, totally join in.
We definitely need to make some kind of trip happen at some point, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That would be so much fun.
I hear New Delhi's awesome. Somebody in the chat saying it said New Delhi.
Oh, nice. Oh, it's weird. Something might be up with my chat. It doesn't seem to be updating. All right, I'm going to save this just in case ZBrush crashes.
It's looking great so far, though.
Thanks.
You gonna do the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm going to do like at least his upper body because he's always sitting behind that desk. So I might just make the desk to like cover the lower body.
Hold a fork and knife in his hand.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Is there an episode where he's like holding a fork and a knife?
I just remember him sitting at the kitchen table all the time with like a bib on and like I'm gonna hold on. What was the? It was just called Dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, dinosaurs. I think the character though is like you might be thinking of the dad.
I think I am thinking of that.
There's this.
Oh, I'm thinking about him sitting behind his like business desk. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the boss.
yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about him sitting behind his desk, like the image you have right there. Man, that show is so good.
I know it's so smart. It was kind of like The Simpsons in a way.
Dude, the stuff that we got to watch when we were kids, like I don't know, man. Like I talk, like I'm 43. How old are you now?
I am 43 as well.
And like almost all the people on my team at Jellyfish are like around like 22, 23, 24, 25. And like the stuff I talk about, like watching, like when we were kids, like my parents didn't like censor us from anything, so I was watching full on like rated R movies when I was like 10, like 6 years old. But like, but even so, like Neverending Story, and like, I mean, we watched Watership Down when I was like a little kid. That shit's terrifying.
I've
Like
actually never seen Watership Down.
it's like one of the most depressing things you'll ever watch. Like, and like Secret of Nim,
Oh,
and
I love that. That was so good.
like, but like all of that stuff had like a tinge of darkness to it, and like I feel like now, like I don't know, everything's just so like it's not like it's happy. It's just like kind of a little bit devoid of all of those levels sometimes to me. Like I feel like even the kids stuff that we had when we were kids had like like hey, there's real dark stuff that happens in the world. Here it is. Like it's in your cartoons, it's in your like movies, it's in like whatever. Like um, I mean, if you even go back further, it's like the original Hans Christian Andersen like
Oh
stuff.
yeah, those that was
Like
so dark.
if you read those original stories, they're like dark as hell. Like
Yeah, I missed that. I mean, there's definitely some dark stuff, but it is like it's different now. Like the culture isn't like as open to that, which I miss. Like yeah, Never Ending Story was dark. Like that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Like that Gmork and the oracles,
yeah,
um,
I mean even
Secret of
yeah,
Nim.
I mean yeah, Secret of Nim. I mean even like Goonies is like kind of like a little bit. I mean it's got some darkness to it. Like but there's like it just like a lot of that stuff just had like this like I don't know, like it just felt a little bit more real.
Yeah, well, I
In a
feel
way.
like there's a lot of really good stuff coming out lately. Um,
Yeah.
that's kind of doing that as well in a different way though. Like I love the Midnight Gospel. You
Dude,
seen that?
Midnight Gospel's
It's like that if that show had come out when I was 13, 14 years old, like it would blown my brain wide open and I would have gone in some very different directions in my life.
somebody mentioned Flight of the Navigator. That's like that film definitely was one of the first films that was like that sparked me into wanting to do CG as well. Like
Oh yeah, because that
and
spaceship was one of the first CG things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But then even outside of that, you've got like the Last Starfighter. Like the last Starfighter had like the first like blend shaded like thing in the film. Like the spaceships in that were like the first time they used like blends. Like
Nice.
and I think the first one to use like what was it? It was Sherlock Holmes. Like the younger Sherlock Holmes movie was like super dark and
I've
like
never seen
just
that.
God, dude, it's so good. You have to watch it.
Nice. It's so weird. Like, there's obviously like Tron, Jurassic Park, Toy Story are like some of the things that really got me into computer graphics. And but I never
Yeah,
saw Young Sherlock Holmes.
yeah. I introduced you to a few movies. You'd never seen Bill and Ted's.
uh, no, I had seen Bill and Ted's. You might be thinking of well, you introduced me to Enemy Mine.
Yeah, and then Point Break. I think you
Point.
watched with
Yep.
me for the
Yep.
first time.
Yep. I had never seen Point Break before. That was a good one.
Mhm. And then I think that's probably it. You know that I ended up getting a Bill and Ted's tattoo, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've got like it says "Be excellent to each other" on my like left right leg, and then it's got like both of them like doing air guitar. Like,
Dude, that's awesome. Did I tell you I just got my first tattoo like less than a year ago?
yeah, yeah. I forget what you got, but like I remember you telling me about it. I think you
Oh
remember
yeah.
showing me.
Yeah, just put it right here in the live stream. So if you search Flammarion engraving, you'll see what the woodcut print it's based on.
Um,
I just had a dream last night that I got another tattoo. It was so funny because like I was like, oh, I have to have it, and
yeah.
it was a ghost from Pac-Man, but the ghost was blowing a saxophone, and out of the saxophone were coming like a like a cloud of Ganeshas. And I
You
was
gotta get it.
and I was like, that is the sickest tattoo I've ever heard of.
I
Then I
told you
woke up
about
and I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be that cool, but it was awesome in my
uh,
dream.
I love bad tattoos, and I mean I love good ones too. But like, I think I like bad tattoos more than I like. I told you about the one like for a while. I had a dream where like I mean you know me, I love the barbecue and like I had a dream where it was like rat fink style, but it was like a pig surfing on a rack of ribs in an ocean of barbecue sauce.
Wait, is that a tattoo that you want to get or you've seen
No,
somewhere?
I don't think I'm ever gonna get that, but it was just a dream I had
Oh,
of
okay.
like of a tattoo that I had gotten. Uh, but like I do want to get. I've got a my tattoo artist drew up. You've seen the movie. I think you watched that with me too. It's Joe versus the volcano.
Oh, I had seen that growing up, but I don't know if we
So
watched
that's
it
one of my
together.
favorite films. And there's a line in it where he's like away from the things of man. Is like the line he says in it, and it's like them floating off into the moonlight on his like luggage in the middle of the ocean. Because that luggage like ends up saving his life like the whole movie. It's like just the ongoing joke throughout the movie. But like the tattoo I want to get is basically it's like the luggage floating on top of water without them, but then it has like the volcano in the background, and then the moon is kind of enveloping the volcano. But then above that it says the away from the things of man.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it.
Yeah. So that's I think that's the next thing I'm getting. And then my right leg will finally be covered.
The tattoo artist who
Well,
gave me my tattoo is actually one of his tattoos is a famously bad tattoo he got when he was a teenager. It's
yeah.
James Franco from Breakers.
Right on.
He's got it all over his calf, and it was like it went viral as like one of the worst tattoos ever made.
I gotta look it up now. Oh, does it say hood underneath it?
I think so. I can't remember.
I think I'm looking at it. It's amazing. I also want to get like, I mean, this one's kind of stupid, but like, I want to get a ant in a hot tub with like a magnifying glass over the hot tub, like heating the water up. You know, like how like evil kids like were like would take like magnifying glasses and like burn ants when they were like kids. I
Hey,
wanted
I,
to like put
I, I
that.
did that. I wasn't evil.
I did it too. But like I wanted to put it in more of a positive light.
Right, right. So you're helping the ant have a good time in the hot tub.
Yeah, like
That's great.
he's being able to chill in the hot tub. Uh, Such a dumb idea. I've got like a huge list of stuff like that somewhere.
You ever write down your like a list of tattoos you want to get or like sketches? Got a sketchbook going of them.
Yeah, I've definitely got like a note thing inside my iPhone that has like a bunch of them. I wanted to get a banana chilling in a hammock, which it's so fucking dumb. Banana hammock, like so dumb.
How many tattoos you got now?
Uh, 15, I think. No, 12. I don't know how I counted three more. Yeah. Any of the new tools in particular that you're liking a lot?
Oh, the built-in ZBrush.
Yeah.
Um, using like just Dynamesh and ZRemesher a lot. But actually, it's weird. Like I don't want to bash ZBrush, but like sometimes the ZRemesher just gives you trash geometry.
Yeah. Recently, I've been using. I forgot that they implemented that you could use a lot of the Z modeler tools with subdivision levels, and I've been using Slide a lot.
Oh right, yeah. If it doesn't
For
disrupt
like,
the geometry, you can use it even if you've got subdivision levels. I forgot about that.
yeah, because for me, like when we do retopology and stuff, a lot of the times, I don't know, I get tired of going back and forth from Maya when you're doing like, um, whatever it is, like, what are the modeling tools called in Maya? They're the modeling toolkit.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I just get tired of having another surface like live below, uh, and like I need to get my geometry more accurate to like for our riggers. So like a lot of our mouth geometry and a lot of the eye geometry, we need to be like very specific and like you know the lines above the lid, like both the lines that are like on top of the lid and below the lid, really need to line up for what our riggers want us to do. And I just kind of get tired of bouncing back and forth to ZBrush and Maya. So like recently, I've been using the slide tools a lot because they like in the Z remodeler because it retains the volume, um, but like you can just move like on level one you can just move you know verts or faces or edges along the volume instead of like losing the volume and having to reproject.
Totally.
Um, that's been the thing I've been using the most lately, just because I have to do a ton of retopology and stuff for what I've been doing lately
So I know,
this
so
last year.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, go
So
ahead.
I know some stuff we've been talking about, like is like burnout or like um, also like stuff like imposter syndrome. I've struggled with that. I know you've talked about that. Like, have you like found anything that helps with that, or is like you've like coping strategies?
Dude, it's always weird. Like, and I feel like it's kind of like a pattern. I feel like anytime I have any kind of modicum of like new success or like a new, it's like just it's like really big milestones. I think it's just I feel like it's just a natural. I mean, not to justify it, and I don't like that it happens, but I feel like a lot of us as artists like just deal with imposter syndrome because it's like what we don't realize is that it's just us growing, and then like you're at a place to where you're like, oh, I don't think I can do this, but you don't feel like you've earned like the thing that you're now doing, or like maybe you've won an award. Like for me, it always happens after shit like that. Like something super positive will happen, and then like my brain's just like, no, you like that shouldn't happen to you. Like,
Right, like
and
our
then
perception of ourselves is like where we were artistically 10 years ago, and we don't realize like
it,
how far we've come.
yeah, and then you get like either a little bit of notoriety or something, or like something positive happens, and then you're just like, it's almost like you just start allowing your mind to be like, I should, I should be okay with this. I should be able to accept it. Like I should, like I have deserved this. I mean, it's great being humble about it, but like, I think I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot the last year for whatever reason, and it just like recently like worked on something that won an Emmy, and um like the week after that I was like super depressed. Like I didn't like I was just like really down on my work for some reason, and like something amazing just happened, and just like it's just like a weird, I don't know. And like when I got this job in London for this thing, like it's like, oh, I don't know if I deserve this. Like I don't know. Like it's like all these little kind of doubts start coming in your mind, and I think a lot of it's just due to the fact that like you're in a new place, or you're in a new thing, learning something new, and like it's like each little step is just kind of like proving to yourself that like you're, have the ability or the, the know all to do that thing, and then, you know, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's like at a certain point in your life, you weren't in that place, and then you find yourself there, and you're it's just like perception of yourself hasn't caught up yet, and then also like
Yeah.
it sucks because I think all of us have been in this situation where we're like, oh, I got this, and it turns out we like totally don't got it, and
Yeah.
we don't want to feel that way again because that sucks, and then everybody's like, but you said you got it, and you're like, oh geez, sorry.
I got it. Yeah. So it's, I mean, yeah, it's just I mean, I think that's a big thing in the art communities, because like really, every time you do something, especially, it's always different. So like, I mean, it's a different character, for it's a different scenery, or it's a different environment, it's a different prop. Like all these things um, have different challenges, and like um, in like more than really any other fields, like I feel like we're always having to like learn, and I'm not saying that other fields don't, but like I mean anything in the art field for real, but like
That is one of
it's
like
like
one of the
you're
amazing things. Like I would say our field and like CG, like computer animation in general, is one of the most technically demanding fields out there. Like compared to the pay we get, like
Yeah.
developer, at I don't know, some big tech firm or like whatever, like you're doing military contracting or something with this level of like technical proficiency that we have to have, you're making a lot more money than most people in the CG industry are making.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, like when I taught a few times, like that was like one of the main things I like first said when it was like my students' first like days. I was just like, if you really want to be in this field, you've really got to be willing to like continually just be like, I'm I want to keep learning for the entirety of my career. Like because the technology will change every single year. Like the tools will change every single year. Like like and you just constantly just keep having to like, you know, almost reinvent your tool set and like the way you're doing things like even on a daily basis. I mean, I think for me and even for you, like, I was freelance for like almost 12 years probably. And like, as a freelancer in New York, I always felt like, there's kids coming out of SVA every single year that are are learning all of the new tools that are coming out. And for me, I felt like I had to learn anything and everything new that was coming out. Otherwise, those kids had my job. So
Hmm.
like, it was like a constant like, and I still feel like it's led to me. I mean, that's part of the reason. Like every morning, like I probably post a new tool or a new plugin or something like that because I'm always just trying to stay ahead of like what's new and like what tool can save me and get me home on time and like what tools have sped this process up and allowed me to be more of an artist and not have to rely on the technical side of these things, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. It's a lot of like you have to search that stuff out for yourself, and that's what I tell a lot of times. People are like, "Oh, how do I like make it in this industry?" And I'm like, "Do you just naturally get up every day and like check out and search for like what's going on
Yeah.
and with new
Be
tools and
curious.
how it works and being curious?" And they're like, "Oh no." I'm like, "Well, you better start doing that." And I'm like, if it doesn't come naturally to you, like
Yeah.
you're only gonna get so far.
My buddy Ryan's up in this thing. Ryan, other Ryan. He used to work with me at BNS. It's Ryan. What? I can't think of your last name now, dude. I haven't seen you like. It's Ryan. Ryan, if you're still there, say your last name in the chat. It's Ryan Pixels.
So I just used
He's
project
amazing.
history. Did a quick Z remesh on that and project history from my Dynamesh. Actually, this hand is like kind of anatomically totally different from the character's hand, but whatever.
Because what I like about doing this is then I have a lower thing to then move around. I don't have a nut like that's why I like using it because like I can then reproject to an high, but then I have a low that allows me to move those volumes around without being super heavy like Dynamesh or like um. That's why I like using it a lot, man. Because like now you can like kind of work on a lower level, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I got like this lower subdivision level.
Yeah. So like if you need to smooth volumes like quickly, like you can do it faster. Or if you need to like move like a whole volume, you can do it faster. Like
Yep, totally. So oh yeah, we got Ryan's pixels. Um, Something else I like to talk about on this the live stream a lot is like Midjourney AI art creation, like
yeah.
what that going to do to our jobs, like because it's only I think it's a couple of years before there's the 3D equivalent of Midjourney.
I mean there's with Stable Diffusion I've already seen the implementation of like some 3D stuff. So like um I just posted something this morning about like somebody took they implemented Stable Diffusion inside of Maya with like basically putting primitives into a hallway scene, and they basically just put like stuff like kind of primitives on the wall, like they made like a primitive couch, they made like a primitive doorway, and then they fed that into Stable Diffusion, and then just wrote a little bit of text of like I think it was like something like Victorian living room, and then it took those objects, those primitive objects that were in the lighting from Arnold, and then rendered an image with the coloring and shading that they had, but with a Victorian look, and like it looked it looked pretty amazing. Like I think I can find it on Twitter real quick.
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead and post a link to that.
But like, I mean, it's gonna. I think it's like anything else, and this is part of the reason I'm like, keep up with the tools and keep doing this thing because, like, yes, like these things are going to take certain jobs, but like I do feel like they're always gonna need artists, and like these are just gonna be other things that fall into lines of tools that we do already. Like like yes, they will replace certain things, but like there will be other things that like they'll replace things that we don't particularly want to do anyways, and then it'll allow us to go in and do the more creative aspects, or like quickly iterate on an idea that will like be able to like give you something that you can work with in ZBrush, or like I don't know, like I understand some of the like panic that people are having over it, but like also I think there will still be a place for artists, and like yeah, I mean you're not wrong about the copyright infringement stuff. I mean that's a whole different. Uh, I don't know if you anybody here follows Carla. My last name. She's been writing a bunch of really great stuff on that. Carla Ortiz. Um, you can find her on Twitter also. This is her. She's written a bunch of really great things about that recently. I mean, they're great things that she's written, but it's kind of like a very depressing because it's like they are feeding particular artist stuff into them, and like I don't know, man. It's a crazy. I do think that like they should focus it more on like being able to use like your stuff. Like what I would love to do is be able to feed all of the art I've done for myself into something like that, and then allow it just to use what I've done to help me create new things with my own like style, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Instead of it doing like a internet search where it's just like, grabbing Stallberg stuff, or like, certain artists like I don't know. It's a weird.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, whether like it or not, it's coming and it's here, and it's gonna redefine a lot of things. And actually, I'm kind of happy and like okay with some of the ways it's redefining things because I think there's
Yeah.
like like I don't know. I think if everybody has access to tools that can help them be more creative, I think that's always a good thing. Because I'm personally always like in favor of like democratizing creative tools. Um,
Yeah.
because I don't feel like being an artist is like a special thing that makes someone a better person or a more special person or something. Like everybody has a right to be creative, and
Yeah.
and like
100%.
and like there's I think if this undoes some of the sense of like an elite class that is only the people that are allowed to make art, then I welcome that.
Yeah. I can agree with you there. I mean, you know me. We've talked about it tons of times.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the traditional like art world, like there's a reason I got out of that scene, like way back. I just can't like. It's all marketing. It's all marketing and like who you know, and like I mean, you know the one sculptor in particular who I'm thinking of, like that's famous. Like I can't stand that dude, and we know a few people who work for him.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say his name, but
Yeah, so much of it boils down to, I mean, it was like Andy Warhol kind of started it. I don't really care for his art.
yeah,
It was just like,
no,
it's just like he was like, you're gonna be a show person. Like being an artist is just being a show person and messing with like people's minds, which to a certain extent, sure, fine, I get it. But like, there's also making art is like something deeper, more profound than that.
Sir Doomington's, I think, a little upset. No one has the right to take other people's works. I mean, I agree, um, but also like I don't know how.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure, yeah, yeah. It's like Sir
you understand?
Dimmington, like when, yeah, yeah. When I'm, yeah, I think that we're talking about two different things here, and yeah, I agree. I'm not in favor of stealing other people's art. Um, yeah, I don't. Part of my idea of like de de-elitifying art or declassifying art is, um, it's not about like just being able to steal another artist's living artist's style and just make money off of it. Kind of more what I'm talking about is like if an AI can help you develop your own style, then I think that's okay. You know, I don't think that that makes you a less of an artist. Uh, but I think also honesty is important. I don't know if I lost you, Scott, but
No, I'm still here.
okay,
I
cool.
was kind of replying to him real quick
Yeah. I mean, I think
because like
like if you're making traditional art, like you should be honest and be like, if it's a, you know, if you made something that's a if you took a photograph, for example, and put a Photoshop filter on it to make it look like a painting, and then you're passing it off as an original oil painting, I think that's dishonest, and you shouldn't do that. And it's likewise with using AI. Like if you claim that it's your, you know, made from scratch by hand
yeah,
painting, that's dishonest, and you shouldn't do that. But if you just say, hey, I you know worked many hours massaging the prompts to get this with Midjourney, then you know that's cool.
yeah, if you've changed it like 90% from like what it is, or like 80%, or I mean, I don't know what the like. It's I mean, kit bashing was like completely like people lost their minds about that for like a while, like in the in the Photoshop community, you know.
Yeah, I mean, one of my friends put it to me this way: like, if you want to make music, if you want to claim it's all your original stuff, you have to never listen to any other music before, and you have to make your own instruments from scratch, and you have to like raise some goats and then skin them and stretch the skins to make drums, and then you have to, you know, do all the work yourself in order to claim that, you know, it's your own original work. So, you know, at some point you're always working with what was given to you by the previous generation or other artists, and I think that's okay.
Somebody's always here to like get upset. This isn't the chat to do that in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about the legal aspects of it anyway. I mean, you might be right, Sir Dimmington, but I mean, I'm just kind of talking about the,
We're just having a discussion. We're not like saying anything is right.
yeah. Well, I mean, the legality is gonna be changing anyway. I mean, people are gonna have to write new laws around this stuff. So, and they're gonna have to base those laws on um, people having discussions about it. So that's all good.
a sensitive topic, man. I mean, I was playing with it for a couple weeks when it first kind of like Mid-Journey came out, but then I just got bored with it.
I'm trying to write actually right now I'm trying to write a graphic novel, and I want to illustrate it partially with Midjourney, like for some backgrounds and stuff. And it's actually
Yeah.
kind of fun. I'm enjoying the process. I'm kind of using it to help concept some things that are like difficult, like complex things that are hard to like make a lot of iterations of. And so like anything, there's a time and a place for it where it's the appropriate tool. So it's kind of a personal passion project. And what's funny is like the story is about an AI that communicates with children by using abstract images, like in a pre-verbal way.
Yeah. This is why this is why I stay the fuck away from that subject. It's like it's too new and everybody's like super like all over. I mean, it's the same thing with the NFT thing. People are just losing their mind about that for months. Like all last year was just arguments all over the internet, like all the time.
Yeah, what do you think about NFTs, Scott? We can start another fight here.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it's. I think it'll definitely turn into something else eventually down the line that, like, hopefully could be something that helps out artists like get into doing things. But I think like you know, the Wall Street bro culture latched onto it just like I thought they would, and like the whole like art, like high art culture kind of latched onto it too. It always ends up being about money, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and it always ends up being money where the artists end up not winning. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with with the Midjourney stuff. I mean, it's always, I don't know, and
Yeah,
AI art and all that stuff. Like somebody's always left out. Like,
hmm Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's definitely not ready for prime time. And there may be some point in the future, I feel like maybe 15, 20 years from now, where it'll be ready for prime time and actually be helpful. But I think right now it's too immature of a technology, and there's too many like uh, people acting in bad faith, and it's just not. It's not. The promise isn't ready to be fulfilled by it at this point.
yeah, this is looking great, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this will be a fun one to continue. I've only got about 10 more minutes on this one. Um, so yeah, I'll probably continue on the clothing next time. Always little like proportional things I feel like I need to fix.
Sir Doomington's asking if you've done any other Henson inspired sculpts.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Let's see what if I have. Actually, that's a really good one. There'd be some like it's like Gonzo or some of the other Muppets would be cool to do.
Didn't
I don't.
you do? Maybe I'm thinking about somebody else. I thought you did something for uh, Dark Crystal, but maybe not.
Oh no, I haven't ever done anything from Dark Crystal. There was a
I always
guy.
wanted to do something.
There was a coworker at Full Sail who did one of the Skeksis creatures. I think that was from Dark Crystal.
Yeah, all the Henson stuff is amazing. I mean, that's I know that's what me and you grew up on. I don't know how old you are, Sir Doomington, but like you seem like you might be in the same age range.
Hey Edgar. Edgar won the competition last week of guessing the what the sculpt is, and I still haven't sent him his prize. Although there's not really that much to send because he already has a copy of Ryan's tools, so I would just be sending him the latest sort of beta build, which is it's okay, but it's not like an amazing thing. So sorry, I'll send that out to you though soon, Edgar.
I have all the books that was it Alan Williams that did a lot of the art for Dark Crystal?
I don't know.
Um, Alan Williams. But I have like most of the books that came out of Dark Crystal and a bunch of the stuff he did for Ensign. Um, and like there's so much like jewelry and stuff and like background stuff that had all like these such like intricate details on them and things. Um, like one of the books has just like a bunch of jewelry and other things in it that were like basically made for Dark Crystal. I almost got to work on that while I was at DNAG. I was like bummed when they canceled it. Because there was supposed to be a second season and then they decided not to do it.
Have you seen that first season of the new Dark Crystal series? Because I never watched that.
Yeah,
Was it good?
I thought it was pretty great. Yeah, no, I liked it. I mean the like everything they did visually, I thought was awesome. Um, the story could have been a little bit better, but like I don't know, I'd totally watch a second season if they did one. There's possibility that like they I think they have the ability to shop it around, and I think they're looking for um, like HBO or like Apple or somebody else to maybe pick it up and like carry it on. Um, or at least I was reading an article about it the other day that they're trying to shop it around and find somebody to like pick it back up. Which I'd love. I love that universe. I mean, Dark Crystal and Seeker Nim for me are like visually two things that I just like loved when I was a kid. I mean, Never Ending Story also, like all that stuff. I mean, like the what was the movie Legend? Dude, Legend, like the stuff in Legend, like those elves and stuff in that were so amazing. Like oh, and then Willow's coming out this Christmas, man. The new Willow series.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Willow in forever.
Yeah, there's a series coming out on Disney like this December.
They're bringing
That
back
looks
everything from my childhood.
yeah.
They need to bring back Pippi Longstocking. That's all I'm saying.
Forgot all about that.
I think next week I'll get
Hey, Sir
into some of the.
Newington.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, hey, Sir Newington, the stuff around the Mid Journey and AI stuff, like all of that's super complicated, and we're not like. I just want to like say like we're not we definitely don't want our artists to be left out or be taken advantage of in any way. Like it's but it's just a conversation because all that stuff's happening. So like I just want to be clear that like everyone I know is artists and like um, it's just an interesting time and all that stuff's gonna affect all of us as artists and like these are you know all those things are facts, but like a lot of this stuff is happening and will happen regardless of our control, and hopefully the laws end up protecting all of us as artists, but also allow us to like make beautiful things using them. That's all I wanted to say, just to bring it back to that for a second. Yeah, but Bog Witch on that is amazing. Like Robert Picardo is that. Like, let me find a picture of that. Like if you want to be part of a couple really made in this discussion, that Carla Ortiz girl has had like a lot of amazing conversations about it on her Twitter. Yeah, you should do this dude next, man. He's like the elf from the dark elf from Legend, that Robert Picardo played.
Oh yeah.
It's so fucking gross looking, man. I forgot about how.
Oh yeah, that's nasty. Wow, that's Robert Picardo under there, huh?
I loved that like that movie like uh who's the director again? It's he did Blade Runner and all that stuff. I can't think of his freaking name right now. Yeah, Meg the Bog Witch, Mucklebones, Meg Mucklebones. Uh, Edgar Gara says, "Do you think A art will affect 3D art as much as 2D art?" I think it's all going to be affected. I mean, I think all industries, art, like like food production, like car driving, everything is going to be affected by AI in the future. Period. Yeah, just like I like that, like in Blade Runner, like in one version of Blade Runner, he put the unicorn um, from Legend, and then like it was in the dream sequence of the and like he doesn't seem to want to. Nah, he's always done great stuff.
I think I first saw him in Gremlins 2, which is amazing. One of my favorite movies of all time. Like really got me interested in like
Yeah.
visual effects and movie making art for movies.
So I think it was the director's cut, like the when he yeah like let's see, why can't I think of the director's name? Yeah, Ridley Scott, man, like that dude. I love all of his movies, but I feel like sometimes like he just hires really good visual people, and then like I'm not gonna like I'd love to work for that dude, so I'm not gonna bash.
I think you overestimate the
Especially,
number of people who are watching my live stream.
uh,
but we are getting pretty close here to the end. I've been sculpting pretty casually today since I wanted to like kind of, you know, be part of conversation as well. So, but yeah, I'll definitely be continuing this one next week. And Scott, you are welcome to join again anytime you want, man. Just hit me up. It's been so cool having you on. Everybody, Scott Denton, in case you're just tuning in, good friend of mine, amazing modeler. Did you put your links to your stuff there in the
Yeah, I
live?
can drop it again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just go ahead and drop that in again. You can check out what he's into. And yeah, man, awesome conversation.
Yeah. No, it's been good talking to you, man. It's been a minute. We should do this more often, even outside of this. So,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, hit me up. We'll be in touch.
I mean,
Thanks everybody for joining. Have a good one.